Good afternoon and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Okay, so I've been at work today, a little tired, been very busy. Really interesting day for the weather. Today's the first day that I've left the house to go to work and walked into a cold, crisp frost. So autumn is definitely in full effect and it's starting to lean a little bit towards winter. Not done a review for a little while. Basically had a stinking cold yet again. One of the joys of parenting is the gifts your children give you, and as keeps giving us colds. So hopefully over the worst of it, still a little bunged up, so my voice is going to be a little bit off. So thankfully I've got something quite heavy and quite powerful to review today. So even with my nose not quite at 100%, I've still got no issues smelling it. And today I'm going to be talking about Rose Flash from Tauerville. So this was released in 2014 and comes from Andy Tauer, who obviously is very well known for some amazing fragrances. This is one of the Tauerville series of fragrances or collection of fragrances that he released. Now these they're not replacing the existing parfums or anything along those lines. They're an addition to it. Now they come in 10ml roll-ons and little 30ml bottles, which are quite cute, as you can see. Really cute, actually. I love these little bottles. And it's good for my theory of 30ml bottle collecting as well, so that falls in quite nicely. And because they're 30ml, they're really very well priced. Considering this is, I think it's an EDP or an extract, actually. Let me just double check. Just says parfum 30ml, so I think it's an extract of parfum. And bearing in mind, this is a 30ml bottle, so the same size as you would get a Nasimoto or something along those lines, but about coming in at half the price of a Nasimoto, and of, probably, if anything, and I hate to say it because I love Nasimoto, superior quality. This is amazing. There's quite a few in the range, and this is the only one I've tried. So this is the only one I'm going to be talking about today. Obviously, we'll get round to doing some of the other Andy Tauer fragrances that he's made that are very well known. This one doesn't seem to have so much online presence, shall we say. I've worn it to work today, and I left my house this morning at about 5:15. And at the time of filming, it is now 2:05. So quite considerable amount of time, and I can still smell this very strongly, as plain as day. So I'm going to spray a little bit more, just for review, not a lot, because this really, a little does go an awful long way. So let's just spray a tiny bit on there, just so we can talk about it a bit more. Now, when this was released, there are no real notes listed. I think it's rose, and woody notes and resins. I think that's all that's actually out there in terms of an official note listing. Obviously there's more to it than this, but it's this is quite an amazing fragrance, to be honest with you. One I'm really happy to have. Now I've got lots of rose-based fragrances in my collection, but they're all kind of like rose and oud. And there's no oud listed within this, although it does kind of, in the opening, remind me a little bit of a sweeter version of St. Dupont's Rose Oud or Oud Rose, which I've done a review on, so have a look down there. Because this is kind of like that, but sweeter. The oud, I don't think there's any oud in this at all, but it smells like there should be. It almost feels like there's something missing. No, I'm only kidding. This, as a standalone rose fragrance, is absolutely beautiful. Really interesting fragrance. Obviously, you've got to like rose. If you're interested in rose, then this is so worth looking at. If you're not interested in rose, we'll throw it away. It's going to be no good to you at all. Rose is incredibly dominant. It's really weird, because a lot of people and other reviewers have described this as being a really jammy rose, but it does get to that stage, but not to start off with. I mean, as I said, I've had this on all day and it's still very noticeable. So performance is absolutely astronomical. Off the hook in terms of how long it lasts. It belts out to start off with. The projection is phenomenal. And more importantly to me, the sillage is beautiful as well. It leaves a wonderful trail behind you. I think I can't actually quite get over just how potent this is. It really, I mean, I wouldn't quite say beast mode, but it's not far off. It's certainly a very, very good performer. I wouldn't say beast mode, and I'll tell you for why. The projection on this, when I was wearing it today, it seemed to project very, very heavily for the first hour or so, and then it drops off. It still kind of leaves a fair amount of sillage, but you know, for it to be a full beast mode frag, I would like it to project more. But please don't, think I'm misunderestimating the power of this, because it is a very, very powerful fragrance, and one that you do need to go quite lightly with the trigger. Of course, I've oversprayed it, but that's what I do. But maybe other people might not want to overspray it, because it really does envelop you. You're in that fog. It's not a bubble; it's a fog that you're sitting in, and this kicks out for quite some time. Not massive on the projection. It is to start with. Sorry, I know I'm sounding like I'm contradicting myself, but it kicks out very strongly for the first hour or so, and then the projection kind of dies off, still leaving a good sillage though. But it sits above the skin in a very, very strong way. When you spray this, you do get a sweet rose, but it's a very, very powerful rose. It's almost like an incense beneath it. There's a slight boozy feel coming from it, and you certainly get like an ambery note that comes off this. But it's not all just rose petals. There's a bit of green in here, and I think the green's very clever, because whatever they use to make this green note, it just stops it becoming too sweet and too cloying and too overbearing. There's a slight sharpness to it, a little incensey maybe. This resinous, unctuous feel. This is a very luxurious smelling fragrance. It's very warm. It's a little spicy. It makes you feel very regal. It's completely unisex. Anyone can wear this. And what I like about it, it's a rose it's like the rose of a knight or the rose of a samurai. It's not an old lady rose. This is a warrior rose. This is a powerful rose. This is this is awesome stuff. This isn't, you're not going to be mistaken for grandma. Someone's not going to, walk in a room and think, oh, there's, the room's full of old ladies. Not that I have a problem with a room full of old ladies, mind. Young man. But they're not going to think, you're sort of a shy, retiring old lady type. Your chest is out. You're a warrior wearing this. This is a powerful fragrance, and it's quite intoxicating. I love it. It's a game of two halves as well, because what happens is you get this almost medicinal, sweet, ambery, boozy, resinous rose that is quite massive. And it stays like that for a very, very long time. You've got 3 or 4 solid hours without much of a change. It just kind of reveals a little bit more, and then it drops off, and then it reveals a bit more, and then it drops off, kind of thing. But it's not really taking you on much of a journey. To start off with, 3 or 4 hours in, it suddenly becomes less medicinal, and the sweetness kind of picks up, and then it becomes almost soft. Still above the skin though. It's quite. I don't really have the vocabulary to describe this, because I bought this as a plain sort of kind of non-oudi rose, which is something I don't have. As I say, lots of oud and rose combinations, but nothing that's purely about the rose. So that's why I got this, and I wasn't expecting quite as powerful a fragrance as I've got. It's a real big hitter, a delight if you like roses. As I say, halfway through its journey, it then becomes a lot softer and a lot sweeter, and that's where I start getting this jammy note from. I start appreciating, the sort of the rose jam comparisons that people have come up with. But I don't really get that to start off with. Yes, it is sweet and it is potent, but it doesn't particularly remind me of jam. It's certainly sweet. I don't know, but I do get there's a medicinal thing which kind of makes me think, I wonder if there's some lemongrass or something like that in it, just to give it that almost like a mentholy bit underneath the sweetness that just as I say, it stops it running away and becoming like overbearing or overcloying or anything like that. It's not fresh at all. You wouldn't describe this as a fresh rose. This is an unctuous, this is a deep, this is a thick, resinous, gloopy, potent rose. There's no freshness here at all. It's a winter fragrance, and it's a good one. When I went out today, the air was freezing, and this was everywhere around me. It felt like really, really good. It felt amazing actually. I'm looking forward to really, really ploughing into this. And as I say, for a 30ml bottle, and it's a pretty bottle too. I like that. I like the presentation. Good spray. The spray is actually quite strange. It's quite unique. It sort of spits, it like kind of like pops little bits out instead of like a big vapor cloud or something like that. It's like a little like a fud noise as it pops out. So it does quite a good job. You don't need to use a lot. So, you know, this is a good sized bottle for this product because you're not going to overspray this. And I don't know, you know, you're not basically going to drench yourself in it. A little goes a very long way, and the performance is off the hook. You're going to be, you know, I've worn this. This has been my today. Wore it for the first time to work, but I've worn it about 3 times now, and I've never actually worn it till it's disappeared. I've either had to, you know, have a shower to get changed, or you know, I've gone for a bath or something like that. So I don't actually fully know how long it lasts. But it will last a good 10 hours at least, and it will probably kick on a lot more than that. So if you are looking for a winter fragrance, a long-lasting, interesting rose, look no further than that. It is one for the rose lovers, which I am, so I can't recommend it enough in that respect. Certainly worth trying. Get a sample of it for sure, or maybe, you know, get the 10ml roll-on. That might be a better option. I wanted the 30ml because I kind of, well, it was a blind buy, but I was pretty sure that I was going to like it, and that's paid off dividends because I'm certainly going to get use out of this. And you know, as I say, it's a 30ml bottle, which I'm really quite into. I really enjoy this fragrance, and I think you will too, provided you like rose. So listen, I'm running out and my voice is going, and as you can probably hear, I'm as nasal as anything. So I really wanted to get this in because I've got so many reviews to get out at the moment. Rich is sort of like, come on, send me something to edit. So I'm sending him something to edit. To summarise, thick, resinous, ambery, gloopy, sweet, almost medicinal rose, lasts forever, smells amazing, highly recommended. So that's Rose Flash from Tauerville, from the very talented Andy Tauer. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll see you soon on the next video, and hopefully my voice will be back to normal and my nose will be clear. Anyway, thanks very much for your time, guys. Cheers. Bye!